That's right. I said that back in 2013. I stand by that. And you can bet I sure as hell stand by that now. And in all of what we have seen, Trump didn't just win the Electoral College, he won the popular vote. He won it all. And he won it all because the people of America spoke and they want fascism. It's right there in everyone's face for everyone to see. Far from this idea, as many times as I argued for all the time that was spent arguing with our socialism in that debate, and they just didn't want to hear it. They just wanted to be self-deluded about it. That's not how the first world works. Now, you can put down the Democrats' loss to a number of things. You can basically point out that, hey, look, the Harris campaign basically buddy-buddied with the Cheney family. Basically everyone who stood behind what would also be a genocide of Iraq and Afghanistan. But those ones, not really so much people interested in, even though they really were. Well, when you cuddle up to war criminals, that kind of has a negative effect on your base when they were against those kinds of people. And another important point was that Harris had no mandate. What was Harris's mandate? Like what was Harris going to do? What was the plan? The entire plan was to not be Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is talking about how, oh, your schools are crap, your jobs are garbage, all of this. And it's true, and he's not going to do anything to fix it. In fact, he's going to make it worse. In fact, he made it worse the first time he was president. He was at least talking about it. Kamala Harris wasn't talking about that at all. She was only talking about, I'm not Trump, vote for me. Or look how worse things will be for Trump. She offered nothing. She only badmouthed the opposition. And sometimes that really, really works. God knows that has worked for Republicans in the past. You remember George Bush ran on 9/11 fear, back in 2004. And it worked. He offered nothing but scaring you. If the Democrats win, then the terrorists will win. And one of the problems is that people know that the Biden administration out-Trumped Trump on immigration. More people were kicked out of the country. More migrants were banned from the country than under Trump and even under Obama. That has accelerated even more. So why would you believe the people who have compassion for those who are migrants? Why would anybody even believe anything that Harris had to say about being better than that? Look at the way she treated people when she was a prosecutor. Stifle evidence that people on death row were innocent, so to make sure that they would be killed, because it would look bad for her office if an innocent person was shown to be convicted. If she'll do that, what makes you think she wouldn't do even worse to migrants? But let's face it, she was Hillary Clinton 2.0. She basically took everything that Hillary Clinton ran on and doubled down on it. It didn't work the first time. Why should it work the second time? I don't see any reason why it would. I would have to be inside of Kamala Harris's head in order to figure out why any of that, why that happened, why that would supposedly work. All of this ends up being one thing: low Democrat turnout. I know people who absolutely deny that this happened. Oh, it wasn't. There's something wrong with the numbers. They must be fudged. That number of Democrats, that turnout wasn't that low. Of course it was. You gave them every reason for it. And the main reason for that loss, for the people who were usually Democrat just not showing up to the polls, was because of that genocide in Palestine. And they absolutely refused to let that go, no matter how angry the public was. or how angry the public is about Israel's genocide in Palestine, Harris and the Democratic Party would not let go of it, and they would just keep defending it again and again, which makes her which makes what she's done a crime against humanity. Joe Biden is guilty of a crime against humanity for aiding that, and it's one of those ones that's going to go without any kind of justice. Both of those piles of human garbage that have stood there and defended that genocide are going to go scot-free on it when they should be spending the rest of their lives in prison. And it shows you to the core, the Democratic Party has no conscience. None. They can put out all bunch of nice words about abortion and right to choose and all that, but in there, they had no problem with actually killing babies. Like actually giving the bombs for them to be killed by Israeli soldiers. They had absolutely no problem with that. So I guess the broken clock was right today, that the Democrats are baby killers. And that's not to say that the Republicans wouldn't be baby killers as well. They're even bigger baby killers. Both sides still support the war. They just support it when it's their person in office. And as soon as it's not their person in office, then all of a sudden they're against the wars. It's the same thing with all this shit about Russia and Ukraine. The Republican Party is like, oh, we don't want to be there. This is not a good spending of our money, and we're against this war. As soon as Trump's in office, they're going to complete 180 and support it again. That's literally how it works. That's literally what just keeps happening. Like all the time Obama spent saying like, oh, I'm not for the wars, this is wrong like that. And then goes out and like basically more than doubles the amount of wars that are going on. It's complete nonsense. It's a complete lie. And one of the things that hurt was the fact that the increased GDP, it did not help regular people. Wow, lo and behold, what a surprise. That increase in the GDP went to the rich. Wow, isn't it weird how those who own capital just somehow manage to always come out ahead in capitalism? Weird how that keeps happening. But I mean, it's blatantly obvious to anybody who isn't like willfully ignorant at this point. It's really, really obvious what's going on. And that lack of doing anything to help any working class people, completely alienated people, completely alienated a good number of people away from the Democrat Party. Well, yeah, they said they were going to fix this and they didn't. Not that Trump will. Not that Trump did when he was in office the first time. In fact, he was the one who played a major part in effing the whole thing up to begin with. Things could have been a lot better if they had been done properly. If there had been proper precautions, things wouldn't have been as bad as they are. But why would anybody believe the Democratic Party when they say they're going to do it and then they end up, just completely not doing it anyway? So why would anybody believe them? This all ties into how poverty and hunger increased during Biden-Harris. Again, why would you believe them? Everything got worse under them. And then Trump just comes in, makes all kinds of false promises. He promises you the moon. He promises you Gilded Age. He promises you post World War II American prosperity. And there's absolutely no way he can deliver on this in any way, shape, or form. It's literally impossible. In fact, there's a story that, again, this is, what's the word? Anecdotal, where there's a guy that was working in this plant and they got their Christmas bonus canceled this year. And the boss came out to all the workers and explained to them, because if Trump puts through these tariffs, they had to spend that Christmas bonus on trying to get a bunch of supplies ahead of time before the tariffs that Trump promised to put on things from China. And sorry about that. And he had to explain it to a plant full of people that were pro-Trump who didn't get it. And then had to spell it out for them that tariffs aren't paid for by China. They're paid by people in the US. It's not how he keeps claiming it's going to be. And we see the same thing here with that stupid fascist PP here in Canada doing the exact same thing. And then he turns around, Trump turns around and promises you the moon, everything. You're going to have everything. It's going to be the magic, everything going to be super perfect. It's going to be your goddamn Norman Rockwell painting where everything turns out absolutely perfect. And it's not. I mean, you'd have to be a fool. No, literally, you are a fool if you believe it at this point. No political party can do that. It's economically impossible. And you'd be a fool to believe that coming from anybody. It's just not something that can be done. And the one thing I am going to love more than anything else is watching the amount of cope that is going to come out of the people who are pro-Trump claiming he's anti-imperialist, and watching the dead absolute opposite happen. It's going to be spectacular watching him do imperialism. Do it badly, but he's still going to do it. It never ceases to amaze me, these so-called MAGA people saying how he's anti-imperialist when he's the guy who killed Qasem Soleimani, the guy who was leading the charge against ISIS. Yeah, kind of suspicious, eh? Almost like ISIS might kind of be a U.S. asset there or something, right? You add in the inflation, debt, deficits, and all of that, you're going to get an even bigger fight. And we're going to do the exact same thing again. The debt ceiling is going to have to be raised. And there's going to be this usual stupid game of chicken that's going to happen as a result. Eventually, the debt ceiling will be raised because nobody, and not even the Republican Party, has any interest in the country being destroyed whatsoever. He's going to do the imperialism, and he's going to do it badly. And the one thing you're going to notice more than anything else, nothing will change. Yeah, there will be a bonfire full of content for Saturday Night Live to make fun of Trump. But day-to-day operations, nothing's going to change. It's going to be the exact same thing it was before. The rich are going to get richer. The poor are going to get poorer. You're not going to have access to the health care that you've been promised by the Democratic Party for so long. You're not going to have the access to the abortion. And you're sure as hell not going to have a war-free society. And in the end, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, or how you work on it, or you try to twist it, or try to say how Trump's this one good thing, or something like that, it's going to be the same. And there's going to be no difference at all. And one final note before I end this. Watching Destiny cope so hard over this, watching him lose his mind that the tankies in the far left should be purged from the Democratic Party. They're not in the party. What the fuck are you even talking about? Why would there be tankies, communists, or far left even in the Democratic Party? That doesn't make any sense. You're just mad that you genocidal piece of fucking shit did not get the victory that you wanted because you would not let go of that genocide, you fucking human piece of shit. And that was the last rant. That was the last rant for this video. So to summarize, TLDR, nothing's going to change. The Democrats did it to themselves. And from here on out, the same day-to-day nonsense is going to happen. Could potentially get even worse.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.